Hello, hello, hello. Welcome for another episode of the Author Spotlight. Hey, it's your host with the most, your main man, Darren M. Palmer. Excited to be with you for another episode where I get the honor and the privilege to go behind the scenes with best-selling authors from across the globe. I got my main man on today, Mr. Jason B. Montanez in the building. Say hello to the people, Jason.
Hey, everybody. Jason B. Montanez is in the building. Darren, thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
No doubt, my brother, no doubt. Now, I've seen the quote of what. Now, I've said the Jay-Z song, but we got to get into it, man. I've got 99 things to quit and giving up is one. Man, please, why that? I love the title, by the way.
Thank you.
Let's do a little, matter of fact, let's just purpose it a little bit where you share a little bit about you and why did you go with this book?
Okay, yeah, no problem. My background, so originally I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So, and I'm a lover of hip hop, the whole culture and everything like that. So that was kind of my way to give hip hop its credit with the background and how it's raised me ever since I was a young boy growing up in New York. So that's the first reason. And plus, I think that it was going to be a catchy title for people to really resonate with, and that's why I chose that title. But it goes a little bit deeper. All right, I'm unapologetically a man of faith, Christian, and it goes back to Matthew when he talks about the 99 sheep. Right, so shepherd had 100 sheep, one went away, he left 99 to go back. Right, and if you really dive deep into the title, I've got 99 things to quit and giving up is one. I'm telling people that they have to quit giving up. And that's that one thing that you have to absolutely quit giving up, is that that is that one thing. So if there's a secret sauce to life, what I've noticed in my 40 years on this earth, that people just quit too soon and quit giving up, you know?
Man, I love that you sharing that. At the time of this recording, I'm doing some training even with my kids or whatnot. And I was just telling my oldest daughter this on the way, carrying her to some volleyball practice today. I said, that's the key, sweetheart. Too many people give up, not knowing we was even going to go into this or whatnot. No, that's God ordained right there. I was like, too many people give up too soon. They never see their dreams come to fruition, not because they didn't have the talent, not because they didn't have the skill, not it wasn't their time. They just gave up because it didn't happen the way they thought it should happen and in the time frame that it happened. So with you writing the book, man, I mean, you dove into some great stuff right there, but I want to go a little bit deeper, man. Jason, just it's one thing to say that I want to write a book, but then, as we like to say, you've been in Texas long enough, so you heard this. I'm fixing to. I'm finna. And then you come from the faith background too, so you understand that the Lord, by this time next year, when I get the kids out of school, when I get some time off, COVID-19 at the time of this recording has happened, people still didn't write the manuscript. So, man, with a busy schedule like yours, man, share with the people. What made you believe that you could even write a book when so many have failed at the task?
Yeah, very good question, Darren. Actually, Darren, this is my second book, right? So to answer your question, what made me believe I could write a book is I was willing to sacrifice. At the end of the day, writing a book, it has to do with all sacrifice. What are you willing to give up in order to accomplish this goal? And then having the ability to lock yourself away for a little bit, right? I've been very fortunate to have a very loving wife, understanding wife, because it takes a lot to write a book. It takes a lot. There's times where, my wife want to watch Netflix and I'm like, babe, I gotta go. I committed an hour a day or 2 hours that I'm gonna just close out, shut my phone off, and go write this book. So
that's good. That's good. And like you said, man, with you being a two-time author, I think that it helps people for them to see, because it's one thing to look at you and say, oh, wow, man, he's reading these books like you just woke up this way, like Beyonce. But if we look at the Netflix series or whatnot, we have to see the work ethic that she has. So I'm glad that you brought that point across of the sacrifice. And I want those who are tuned into this to understand the other part of that as well is that he shared the time, but also let's not keep an elephant in the room. You have to be willing to invest some funds as well.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I want people to just to think of that. I'm not saying that you gotta have pockets like Warren Buffett or not, but to get certain things, even if you're the general contractor, even if you self-publish it or whatever, you have to be willing to give up. So if you don't mind, Jason, share a little bit about that. We heard about you giving up some Netflix time with your wife. Now you got past that because Lord knows we need that rib, man. You know what I'm saying? We need that rib. So, but at the same time, let's talk about also with the time, but also monetarily too as well. What you know, how you had to invest as well, because you could have said, "No, man, if they ain't able to do it for free for me, I ain't gonna worry about it. I'm gonna wait until the Lord to send somebody who can do it for free for me." So tap into that mindset as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm a big proponent on image, right? So if you want it to look good, if you want it to feel good, you have to invest some of your resources into it. And it's kind of like you never get a second time to make a first impression, right? So when they pick up your book for the first time, what are they going to look at? I mean, because you know, you can self-publish, and both of my books, I've self-published both of my books, and they look like it's been backed by a publisher, right? Because I spent my resources, and that's the kind of product I wanted to feel a certain way. I wanted it to look a certain way. And from a monetary perspective, you just have to prepare yourself, just like anything else. When you buy a house, when you want to buy a car, when you want to invest in something, just look at your budget, allocate what funds that you'll be comfortable with putting towards this book. But keep in mind, just like anything else, what you pay for is what you're going to get.
Ooh, man, I love that. I love that. I told you, my boy Jason is here dropping these value bombs on us, man. Like JLT. He just getting us. You know, if you can't tell, too, he's a great presenter. My wife's like, man, we got to get this guy on the show. I heard part of the presentation. I had to step out on the phone or whatnot, but everybody was just raving about the presentation you did at the event that we were at. And so I want to talk about that too, Jason, how you've been able to leverage, because the book is not the end all. It's just basically the appetizer that leads to the main course. So you did a great job. Actually, we picked up on some of the stuff that you did as well with one of the presentations. We ain't gonna give everything on this particular thing on how you were able to lead people in to be able to get more of a premium solution, or just to be able to build rapport with them after you got through speaking or whatnot. That was genius that you did, by the way. So let's talk about what we call, with our company at Self-Publishing 30 Days, the B squared method, book to business method. How have you been able to leverage being an author into the other parts of your business, which you speaking, consulting, and things like that you do?
Yeah. So let me equate it to this, right? So if we see somebody, let's say we see a bodybuilder, right? And we're like, man, that person has to be strict. They have to eat a strict diet. They have to be putting in the work, etc. It's the same thing with writing a book, right? So if you write a book, it's a good quality book, right? It looks like you put some effort and thought into the presentation of the book. It's going to lend a credibility to you that shows that you're disciplined, that shows you have what I call stick-to-itiveness, okay, that you have the ability to see things through. You have the vision to visualize and then make it a reality. And people like and trust people that have that stick-to-itiveness and that discipline to put out a good product. Now, what that translates to is credibility. Now, once you have that credibility, people are going to like you, they're going to trust you, and then that's where the other business opportunities come into place. And that's where I go into, you know, my consulting, and this is just a conduit, right? This is just a presentation, a conduit to all the other business offerings that I offer.
Now, Man, I'm telling you, this is good stuff. I don't know if y'all know it now. You better be taking notes over here. You know, y'all got my man Jason over here that's giving you stuff that could get real pricey to a constant. I'm gonna say price. It's definitely worth the investment when you're looking at it, because your perspective will be, your perception is your reality or whatnot. And so just hearing these nuggets that Jason is laying before us, you want to make sure that you glean from and say, how can I implement this in my life? Whatever that I'm doing. If I'm painting, how can I do this? If I'm a welder, whatever it is that you do, can you teach some classes on you? Can you start a YouTube channel? Can you have somebody record you or not? Can you add 10 things that people make a mistake on if you're in insurance or whatnot? Don't make a mistake before you get your policy. 10 things not to do. It's just those things. And I want to bring this up, Jason, because it's been a common denominator in the thread that you've been sharing with us. It's the if part. If you have a proper looking book and you put some effort into it. Now, I want to dive into this because some people believe, because they've been told, just get a book done, you're going to have instant credibility. That's if it's done right. I've seen it be an asset, but I've also, Jason, see it be a liability, because I've seen some people that are great content. I've seen some people who are experts at what they do, but sadly, that their book isn't a great representation of who they are, and they miss out on opportunities because they're not packaged right. So please, my brother Jason, share with them on the importance of packaging and how they're presenting their products and their services.
Without a doubt. You could not have said it more eloquently, Darren. Like I said before, you do not get a second time to make a first impression. I concur with you that I've seen some books put out there, and the credibility was actually, it was a damage to credibility. You can tell that if you look at a book, if effort was put in there. Did they just rush to put this out there just to say that they have a book? Was it edited? Right? I've read books where there are misspellings, the punctuations are wrong, the paragraphs, the flow, the interior design, the exterior design is not up to par with what you want to be representative of yourself. So it's so very important to keep this in mind whenever you are publishing a book and your name is going to be on it. And actually, on this book, I actually put my face on it. So the first book, I didn't have my face on it. On this book, I put my face on it, and you have to make sure that, okay, if people pick this up and don't read a word, is this going to be representative of me and the image that I want to portray out there? Because, truth be told, Darren, with social media, Instagram, Facebook, all this stuff, people are going to believe off of image, right? And what they're visual.
I'm telling you, this is good like Campbell's soup on here. I'm telling you, man, get your some. I'm telling you. But this is just like baby bear soup, man. This is just right. Yeah. This is what we have to talk about, because you can't be bamboozled or hoodwinked into thinking that you can put a book. I know one woman, she's great in ministry. She has a global ministry, but she cut corners, didn't invest, tried to be a general contractor on the book, and didn't get the right resources, didn't have the people do it right. So it was a damage to her ministry. Now, does she love God? Yes, she loves the Lord. Has she been able to serve people? But no one cares about that now, because now all of a sudden they're wondering, like, hey, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Mm-hmm. So now they're looking at it like, I don't know if I want to have her come and speak. Now, if it's in front of a decision maker on having her to be there, to be a keynote or to be able to lead a revival, now they're wondering about it. I don't know if I want to deal with her, because like you said, you brought up some key points. Mm-hmm. The interior design. And no, my friend, we're not talking about Property Brothers on HGTV when we're talking about interior design. We're talking about the actual formatting and the inside of the book. And so you got to understand the exterior. How's it lining up? And some people are not, they're not focused and don't know that just because you got a cover design and it looks great on Facebook, does that manuscript and interior design, are they meant like, Jason, my boy Jason be fly, so it might be like a custom suit he got on or something. So it's no telling, my boy be G5 status. Don't believe me, just look it up. Go look him up. But at the same time, if you look at it, you'll see, if you don't know any better, you think because the design looks great on Facebook, but you didn't realize that the resolution isn't right, and it won't even be able to go to print because you don't have print ready files. So these are the things that people find themselves ensnared in because they don't know any better and they're not dealing with experts who know what to do. So, Jason, when I look at what you've been able to accomplish, man, just guide our people too, far as how can they connect with you? Like, someone's thinking like, man, I need consulting. Like, man, this really resonated with me. I don't want to. The book is one thing, but this is transferable. I don't want to be like this in my business or in my nonprofit or me as a speaker. Could you please speak to them, whether you give them social media handles, website information, and also please let them know how they can buy the book, but how can they connect with you for a more premium solution?
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for that, Darren. Before I go into that, I just want to make sure that people understand, like platforms like yours, self-publish in 30 days. I chose to outsource everything having to do with my book. I wrote my book. So when you read my books, they are my words. I wrote every single word from me in my books. But when it came to the exterior layout, photo, interior layout, publishing, it was all, I leveraged people that had the strengths in those areas. Okay. So my time to market was significantly decreased because I invested in people where that was their strengths. Okay. I've seen a lot of people where they try to do everything themselves, and understand, while there is value sometimes in doing things yourselves, sometimes you just have to outsource and get the right people on the job and surround yourself with the right people. So I just wanted to add that little nugget. So where can people contact me? All my social media handles are Jason B. Montanez. For my consulting, my leadership consulting, where I focus on leadership, sales, and customer service. That's what my first book was or is about. Lead, Sell, Care as Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can go to catapultleadership.com. And then for my new book, I've got 99 Things to Quit and Giving Up is One. You could go to 99thingstoquit.com.
Man, I appreciate that. We will make sure to have all that information, Jason, in the show notes. You definitely kill it. But I want to bring up another point while we're here before we close this out, because I want to be respectful of Jason's time. Don't be afraid. Like, my wife was able to hear that presentation. I heard somebody, it was great what I heard. But give people their flowers. If you see somebody doing an excellent job, it doesn't make you less of a man or woman to acknowledge great people. Jason took time to pour into us today because we didn't let pride get in the way, or we didn't get, Jason did publish with us. So this platform isn't just for people whose books were published by us or whatnot. But at the same time, when you see people who are doing great things, align yourself with great people. It's an abundance mindset. Please get rid of the lack mindset. Jason could have said, I don't have to tell you all that. I paid for that information. I don't have to tell you, go figure it out for yourself. But that's not who he is. He understands who his source is. So he knows that it's plenty out there for him and everybody else. So I just really, in the times that we're in, I want people to understand it doesn't make you less than. If you need to invest to get the right people, Jason has areas that he has strengths, but his greatest strength is knowing what's not really worth his time to dive into. Now, if it's something that he needs to take time out to study and equip himself in, then he does that. But he's able to leverage and be able to get more done, because if it's a book that you want to learn about leadership, one of the best books where you'll understand if you're faithful over a few things, he'll make you rule over many. But I can't give y'all too much game on here today, but you'll pick up on that and understand what we're talking about. So Jason, please just share with people the power of partnership, because I believe in faith communities. Let me go ahead a little bit different. With mission and the marketplace, I see that as the Achilles heel for so many people because they don't get the power of partnership. Speak to that, brother, before we close this thing out.
Yeah, so I go back to before my wife and I got married. We did, marriage, Christian marriage counseling, and our pastor said ego, edging God out. All right, and if you understand synergy, right? So synergy is 1 + 1 = 3, right? So how do we partner, and where those individual parts are more together than if they're separate, right? So that's one of the quits, right? Here's my book right here. I got 99 things to quit, and giving up is one. In my book, I talk about quitting the ego, quit not partnering, quit not leveraging the strengths of people. I've outlined 99 things that I've seen, and then I've also experienced through wisdom, right? That people need to quit. Thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and people that you got to quit if you want to be successful. So understand that you always, and I'm saying this emphatically because I believe it, you always accomplish more together. Period.
Hey, you heard it here from my man Jason. He just dropped the mic. You didn't see the mic drop, but I saw it. I saw the mic drop. The man dropped the mic. Hey, that's what you want to pick up on, people. I just want you just to be able to just take into consideration. You see where Jason is. You see the things that he's been able to accomplish. He has nothing to lose by coming and telling you some false information. It's not worth his time to tell you that. So why don't you take a person for his word? He's telling you, this is what I've been able to do. I've invested time and funds to be able to get this. I've also sought out mentorship and coaches myself. This is what I've been able to find that was able to allow for me to scale and do more. Please take that into consideration for us, what you're doing. Don't allow yourself to keep going around in the wilderness, whatnot, when you could have been in the promised land, whatnot. But you saw yourself as grasshoppers instead of understanding that you could partner and know that you was well able to take the land or whatnot. So, man, Jason, I thank you so much for coming on. Before we get out of here, speak to that person who got limited beliefs right now. And they say, hey, it makes sense for Jason. I mean, man, he got a beautiful family or whatnot. The brother's intelligent. He got companies or whatnot. I got a story that I want to share, but I don't think that I should even do it. There's so many books out there right now. Why should I share my story with the world? Could you speak to that person out there who's straddling the fence, Jason, on whether they should share their story or their expertise with the world?
Right. I think it sounds cliche, but if you have that vision, if you believe it, you can achieve it. It takes time, right? Just be willing to sacrifice, put in the work. People do want to hear your stories. People are inspired, all right, by real people's stories. I come from a very, very simple way of thinking. If I can impact and save a life of one person, right, or spread the gospel and bring people to Christ, then I've done what I can do, right? And what you'll be surprised is that it's going to impact more than one person. With social media and reach and the capabilities nowadays, it's endless. And don't let that deter you. I wrote my books for me because I wanted to tell my story. Now it's helping other people. The first book that I wrote, just to give you a real quick overview, The first book that I wrote, Lead Self-Care, as easy as 1, 2, 3, was a bad leadership experience. And I chose to channel that energy instead of complaining, instead of griping, instead of using it in a negative way. I channeled it to a positive way. And that's how that book was birthed. Because I said, if I feel like this because of a poor leadership experience, I'm pretty sure other people feel this way as well. Let me give leaders a manual, so to speak, so they can be great leaders. All right. My second book, I've got 99 Things to Quit and Giving Up, is one. It was birthed through a consulting conversation that I was having. And I said, you know what? There's nothing that I can tell this person to do, because oftentimes people want to know what I got to do. What are the things I have to engage in, etc. If you really boil, it's the things that you got to quit. Quit the negative self-talk. Quit those people that are holding you back. Quit the ego. Quit being impatient. If we quit these things and say no to these things, then you're going to see everything else flourish, right? So that's also helped people as well.
Man, I'm telling y'all, go get the books, plural. You know, y'all didn't know your boy was good with English like that, did you? Go get the book, plural, the books, and connect with my man, Jason. Jason, God bless you, man, you and your family. I thank you for pouring into us, man. I really appreciate it and looking forward to connecting with you soon, my brother. Thank you for coming on the Author Spotlight.
Thank you, Darren. It was a pleasure. And go write that book. Anybody out there that wants to write a book, go write that book and have Darren publish it for you. Here we go.
Man, that's it, man. Thank you so much, man. Until next time, remember that this is the year for your new book. If you won't change, be the change. Be blessed and be great.